Hello, everybody, and welcome to another draft analysis for another draft league. This time it's the aABL, the aDrive Army Battle League, which is like a league that aDrive puts on. Like I think it's every now and then, like maybe once a year or something like that. Um, where a bunch of people are randomly selected, like people put in applications or whatever to join the draft league, and then out of everyone that's selected, people are everyone that put in an application, people are randomly selected to join. I think there was like 100 people or something that put in applications this year round, and there was 3 leagues, each with um like 12 or 16 people, I think. So it basically worked out to it was like a coin flip whether you got accepted or not. Luckily, me, Ian, Rudiger, and Austin all got in. Unfortunately, KADE did not. Um, and there were a bunch of other people, like a few people we played in D&D and stuff like that, or that were in the prems for D&D that managed to get in as well, and some people that missed out, like MAPSTON and stuff like that. So it's a bit unfortunate that not everyone that wanted to play can get in, but I do count myself lucky that I did manage to get in. So, and then out of all that, everyone's split into 3 different leagues. I'm in the blue league with Austin, and yeah, and then this is I think the first real season that I'm starting as the Adelaide Overheat, which is my new team name that I will be going by. I wanted to change it up and make my mascot Pokemon like something that is more relevant to me, like Spinarak's cool and everything, but Salazzle is one of my favorite Pokemon added in the new generation, like one of my favorite Pokemon ever. So I wanted to base the team around that as my mascot, and that's why I'm now the Adelaide Overheat. Um, but yeah, I did manage to land myself as first pick in this league, so that means I get pick of the litter. Um, I got to grab whatever I wanted from everything. I mean, it was a tough choice. There was some good choices there for me. I could have gone Celesteela again. I could have taken my favorite Zygarde. Uh, like, there's definitely. I did want to try Kieran Black. All of those were potential options for me, but there was something there that is not always there in the draft league format. Like it sometimes is banned. No, a lot of the time is banned. Um, but there has been a few leagues that I've seen around that do allow it for whatever reason, and it has been something that I've been wanting to try. And that's why with my first pick, I picked up the Hooper Unbound, which is nicknamed KADE. All my nicknames, except for my Mega, are named after people from my Discord server. I mean, which is free to join if you'd like to. If you'd like to support the Adelaide Overheat at all, or anything like that, then please join up and say hello. But otherwise, yeah, this is all named after people in my Discord server, except for my Mega, because I didn't have anyone that I felt fit the name for that. So, but we'll get to that later, because that was a pretty late pick. So, anyway, KADE the Hooper Unbound, my first pick, very strong boy. Like, I mean, it's banned in a lot of leagues, so like I feel like there's got to be a reason. So it's definitely something I wanted to use for that specific reason as well. 80 HP, 160 attack, 60 defense, 170 special attack, 130 special defense, and 80 speed. So it's not the fastest, but it's got a decent base speed. It's got very good special defense, and like 80 HP, 60 defense, while like not the best, is like not the worst either. It's very, very average though. But that 160 attack and 170 special attack means that it is like very good in like it can be a mixed attacker. It can run special, it can run defensive, and because of that, your opponent's not really going to know what you want to run. You can run Scarf, you can run Specs, you can run Bands, you can run all kinds of different stuff. The ability Magician lets you steal items from your opponent. I believe that is what it does. I haven't really used it much, but so like you could like trick your choice Scarf over onto something and then steal another item from another another of your opponent's Pokemon or something like that. Speaking of trick, we've got other notable moves like it can set up with Calm Mind. It has the Destiny Bond for some shenanigans there. Knock off, Light Screen Reflect, set up screens if I wanted to. Normally, I think you'd run this more offensively, but I mean, the potential is there. Thunder Wave to slow down your opponents, and then the Trick Room in case you want to run a slow Hooper, or you're running a slower team, you can do that Trick Room shenanigans as well. It does have that 4 times weakness to Bug because it's a Psychic Dark type. So like the meme is that like a banded Weedle or banded Caterpie or something like that would be able to take out a Hooper, so it's not really that strong. And like because there is quite a prevalence of things like U-turn and stuff like that, you've got to be really careful what you're switching this Hooper into. A lot of the time I feel like it'll make for a better revenge killer or setup sweeper. When you're setting up in front of something you know is not going to have that bug move that is going to ruin your life. But yeah, speaking of that U-turn weakness, the bug weakness, stuff like that, my next pick is something I picked up specifically to help with that, which will be Skarmory, my Austin, my Skarmory here. So it's got that steel flying type to like quad resist, I believe, quad resist to bug type moves. So that will be a good switch into U-turn, can run a Rocky Helmet on that, something like that, make them regret wanting to U-turn around on my Hooper. Base HP 65, attack 80. It doesn't even have a terrible attack, which is pretty cool. Defense 140, which is crazy. 40 special attack, so nothing special at all there. You're not really going to run this as a special attacker. Special defense 70 and speed 70. So it's not fast. But once again, it's not terrible. Special defense and is obviously nowhere near as good as that defensive stat, but like it could be worse for sure. You're not going to really want to use this as a specially defensive wall, but like defensive, physically offensive mons are not going to be able to touch this. Well, I mean, with exceptions, of course, as there always is, but yeah. But yeah, so chuck a Rocky Helmet on this. Also, I didn't put that it gets Roost in notable moves, but it does get Roost as well, so it can heal itself up without needing like leftovers or something like that. So a Rocky Helmet make U-turners regret their decisions is nice. It gets Keen Eye, which I think means its accuracy can't be lowered or something like that. I don't know. It's not really what you use on the Skarmory, I guess. Sturdy means it can't be OHKO'd. Is nice. And weak armor speed boosts when it gets hit, but its defense drops or something like that. I mean, if I wanted to do an offensive Skarmory shenanigans something, I could run that if I really wanted to, but I don't think. I think Sturdy is normally what is taken. Allows you to get Stealth Rocks up for free. Allows you to raw something out if something is setting up on you. Allows you to get a defog, get rid of hazards, not Stealth Rocks because like that'll break your Sturdy, but like Toxic Spikes or Spikes. Speaking of spikes, it gets spikes as well. It gets Stealth Rocks, it gets Whirlwind and Roar, and they do the same thing, so it doesn't really matter which one of those you run. But it does have a lot of supportive use. Not so much offensive use, but it can hit decently hard with like Brave Bird and stuff like that. And then heal itself up with the Roost that I was talking about before. After this, I was looking at something that I've wanted to use for a while. There's a lot of versatility to this mon. Not as versatile as things like Mew or anything like that, but it's getting pretty close. Like you can run it defensively, you can run it offensively, special or physical. You can run it support, defog, stuff like that. So, I mean, it has very similar options to what Mew can do for you. Oh, this one does not get like the hazard setup of Stealth Rocks and stuff like that. But my third pick that I went for was Silvally, which is Tony. Base 95 stats the whole way down, which like means you can run it bulky, you can run it offensive, either way, as I was saying before, which is really nice. Like, I have a lot of versatility with my team at the moment. Hooper can be run physically or specially offensive, and Silvally can as well. And Silvally can be run either defensive or specially defensive as well, physically or specially. So it does get it gets the RKS system ability, which changes its typing to whatever memory it holds, so it can be any type, which is neat. So if I need a bug type, if I need a ghost type, if I need a grass type, if I need a steel type, if I need anything, fighting, water, electric, you name it, Silvally can be it. It doesn't have coverage for every single move type, I don't believe, but it gets pretty close. So you can almost guaranteed to run a stab move no matter what type you decide to pick up. It does get things like defog, which is good. Another hazard removal is always nice. Magic Coat, you can use that and get hazards, like stop hazards being put up in the first place and get them up yourself, something like that. Parting Shot is really nice. I guess I should talk about my Z-move users as well, which Silvally is not one. I didn't think running it Z-move just for the Parting Shot was really needed for the Z Parting Shot. Like, it does get a lot of coverage moves, but then if you're running Z, you can't get the stab boost from those moves in the first place. So I felt like Hooper Unbound was a better Z move user. Just because like it can be physically or specially offensive, and it does get some shenanigans with special Z moves as well. But yeah, it also gets raw, so it can. This Silvally also gets raw, so it can phase stuff out. Swords Dance, Tailwind, Thunderwave, U-turn for some momentum there as well. So some nice versatility to my team in this mon, that's for sure. And I've been wanting to try this for a while, and I'm really glad that I managed to pick it up. Now, I should also say that I was first pick, so my Skarmory Silvally picks were picked back to back. I get 2 picks each time, so my first pick, and then when it gets back to me finally, I get 2 more picks, and then when it gets back to me finally, I get 2 more picks. etc. until like my last pick, which is by itself as well. Because there's 12 mons in this and not 11. Two T4 choices, whereas normally it's just one T4. You get T1, T2, two T3s, one T4, one T5 mega for freeze, but this one is two T4s instead. So you get a slightly bigger team, which I thought was pretty cool. It allows you to patch holes and stuff a decent amount easier, or pick up some fun stuff if that's what you want to do. But yeah, Z-Move users. Hooper Unbound so far are the only Z-Move users that I have shown off. But speaking of Z-Move users, when it finally gets back to me, I'm looking through more T1, T2 mons to see what way I want to take my team. And I decide to. I'm looking for a dragon in T2. There's a few options I could get. I think at this point, Gudrun might have still been there. Haxorus was still there. And then this one that I did pick up, which was the Como, which is Zach, named after my brother, who's also on my Discord server. So, as I said, all these nicknames are people from my Discord server. 75 HP, decent. 110 attack, pretty decent. Defense, 125. That's very nice to go with that 75 attack stat. 75 HP stat. Sorry. Special attack is not even terrible. So this can be run as a mixed attacker, or it can be either specially or physically if you want to run it that way. So that's not bad at all. So more versatility for my team. 105 special defense. Not as good as that defense, but it's still pretty good to go along with that HP stat, so I'm not going to complain about that. Does get that 4 times weakness to fairy types, but there are no hidden power fairies, so you just got to watch out for fairy type mons, basically. Or like things that carry Dazzling Gleam, or the odd play rough. And then speed, 85. Is not terrible. After a Dragon Dance or two, I think this gets Dragon Dance. I wasn't looking for that, actually. I might have missed that. But it does get things like Autotomize or Rock Polish, so it can set up speed that way, which is pretty cool. But yeah, it gets decent defense, special defense, and HP. So even if something does have that 4 times effective fairy move, if it's like a non-stab one, like say an Espeon Dazzling Gleam that's not specs or something like that, you still might have potential to live it depending on your bulk investment. So yeah, that's, I mean, pretty cool pickup. Like, once this thing gets set up, it can be extremely threatening. And it has decent coverage moves as well on like both the attack and special attack side, so pretty cool. I think it gets like flash cannon, so you can even hit those fairy types back. And then it gets things like bulletproof, soundproof, overcoat. So like bulletproof, that lets you be immune to like explosion type moves or something like that, like Seed Bomb, or I think like Gunk Shot or something. I can't. There's a few moves that can. Focus Blast, I know, is one. But yeah, there's a few moves that you can be immune to with that ability. And then Soundproof is similar, but it's against sound moves like Hyper Voice or Echoed Voice. You know, those kind of disarming voice, Screech, any sound based moves really, that you can run. So like you can play mind games with the opponents, Sylveon or Mega Gardevoir or something like that, make them run Moonblast instead of Hyper Voice or something like that, so that they don't get that pixelate boost and stuff like that. So, and then overcoat means you can't be statused, I believe, or you can't be hit by like spore moves or whatever, like spore or sleep powder, poison powder, stuff like that. So if someone has like an Amoongus or something like that, you could use overcoat, which is pretty cool. And against phasing with raw, it does have stealth rocks as well. Sword stance for setup, taunt to stop your opponent setting up or like setting up hazards, etc. Which is pretty cool. Definitely a pretty cool mon that I've been looking to try as well. I don't think it'll take over Zygarde's position in my heart, but definitely looking forward to using it at the very least. And then following this up, I did want to pick up something I have used before. Something that is going to help my things like Como and Hoop Unbound potentially set up, which is Alola Ninetales. That Hoop Unbound up the top moved. Whoops. Oh well. But yeah, it is Anna, after my girlfriend, also from my Discord server. But yeah, Alola Ninetales is a nice pickup for me here. It allows my Como to get some set up. With the snow warning into Aurora Veil, stuff like that. Allows my team to set up or just take hits in general. 73 HP, 67 attack, 75 defense, 81 special attack, 100 special defense, and 109 speed. So it's got decent speed, decent special attack, decent special defense, average defense, and just below average attack, I guess. With a fairly average to decent HP stats to go along with that special defense and even defense. Like it's not going to take a ton of physical hits, but like it can take one. Does get agility, so you can set up speed. It can be like a set up sweepers or something like that as well if you wanted to. But Aurora Veil is the biggest reason that I got this, just to help things like my Como and other things on my team set up more. Can set up itself with Calm Mind as well. Can disable, can Encore, can Heal Bell. Has a little bit of priority in Ice Shard, but that's a physical move, but at least it's stab. Which, I mean, it could come in useful in certain situations. Nasty Plot for just full-on offensive setup. Pain Split if you were tanking hits and wanted to get some health back, and then Roar for some phasing ability there as well. So not a lot more to say about this mon. Just Aurora Veil is going to be really useful for my team, and I'm glad to have it back for sure. So, and then after this pick, it took a while to get back to me again because, like, obviously I was first pick, and this was my second wheel pick after the Silvally Skarmory. We got the Como and the Alola Ninetales, and then we wait a while and it comes back to us, and I want to start thinking more defensively for my team. Like, I know we've got Skarmory already. I know we've got Silvally, which can be run defensively. And then, like, the Como has got a bit of bulk to it, but it's not a defensive mon by any means. I mean, it can be run kind of defensively as a support Stealth Rock setup or something like that. But I wanted something that is pure defense, really. And that was... was that what I went for next, or was it for speed control? Anyway, we'll see when I click next. Okay, so it was Araquanid. My next one is the defensive one. I mean, this is kind of specially defensive. This helps with my fire weakness that I have with Skarmory and with the Alola Ninetales. Because it's got that water bubble ability, which stops it from getting burnt, takes less damage from fire, and increases water stab damage, which is really nice. It's got 68 HP, which, like, wow, it's average. Paired with that special defense of 132 is really nice. 70 attacks, 50 special attack. They're both average and not too far apart, so, like, while you're not really going to be wanting to use this as an offensive mon that much, it definitely still can. And, like, with the 70 attack stat, with liquidation, with the water bubble to water damage boost, with stab boost, and then you can run an item like the water plate, splash plate, or whatever it is, something like that. You can still end up doing a chunk of damage for sure. But then 92 defense and 132 special defense so it can take some hits with its bulk. Not the fastest speed. It's probably the slowest mon on my team. I think it ends up being the slowest mon on my team. But yeah, gets Magic Coat Reflect. But then the reason that I got this, the sticky webs, is going to be really nice. That'll allow things like Coma O to set up easier, Hooper Unbound to set up easier, or just sweep easier. Because neither of those have the fastest base speed. But with a little bit of sticky web help, that will be a really nice combo to bring along. That's Mountain Dew Pider, who is in my server too, and has a very fitting name for this, so that is why. Next up, we have the defensive mon I was talking about before, which is Miltank, named after MAPSTON. 95 HP, 80 attack, 105 defense, 40 special attacks, 70 special defense, and 100 speed. So it's really fast for a defensive mon. 95 HP is pretty dang good. 105 defense and 70 special defense to go along with that is pretty good. Has thick fat so that it can take ice and fire moves better, which is good for my team as well. It goes well with that Araquanid. It's going to really deter people from wanting to bring fire moves against my team, but also, like, my team is going to want them to bring fire moves because I have Alola Ninetales and the Skarmory so far as fire weaknesses, and to be quite honest, that's not where my fire weaknesses stop. So it'll be good for that. And then I've got the Sap Sipper as well, which will let me take grass moves if I need to, because while I don't have any super weaknesses for it at the moment, I can't really remember if I actually pick up any. I mean, I do pick up one that is fairly weak to grass, so the Sap Sipper could come in useful there, but I think most of the time thick fat for my team is going to be a great deterrent for my opponent to bring their own fire moves or like hidden power fires and stuff like that. Like, switching into Miltank is going to take hits when they're fire or ice. Not that I really have a huge ice weakness at the moment either, but the fire moves for sure. And then it's got Scrappy as well, so it can hit ghost types with its normal type or fighting type moves that it wants to use, which could come in situationally useful as well for sure. It gets Heal Bell, can get rid of status effects on your team, which is nice. Milk Drink for some recovery. Stealth Rock is another Stealth Rock setter, so at the moment for hazards I have Araquanid with the webs, Miltank with the rocks, Skarmory with the rocks and spikes, and Coma-O with the rocks. So have some nice hazard options for sure. And then Thunderwave can paralyze some things as well, so that's cool. A nice little mon here, nice pickup I feel. Once again, we had to wait a while for our next pick though, and I think around this time I was looking to pick up I think a grass type, try and work on my fire, grass, water core. I've got the water for it, I don't have fire or grass at the moment. I mean, Seal Valley can fit whatever place in any core that I need, but and like my drafting philosophy is that fire types aren't really needed, because like fighting, the combination of fighting or ground hits anything that fire is going to hit anyway. I believe. Like, what does fire hit? Steel and bug. I mean, like, you're going to pick up a flying type, so you're going to hit bugs. You're going to hit up an ice type, so you're going to hit grass. You're going to pick up a fighting type, or maybe you might pick up a fighting type. I feel like a fighting type is pretty important, so picking up a fighting type, you're going to be able to hit steel. Ground type, you're definitely going to pick up most of the time, so you're going to be able to hit steel. So I think fire type is one of the most redundant types in the draft league format. Like, you can get some nice ones and you can get some threatening ones. Like, I wanted to pick up Salazzle because it's a grounded poison type, has that corrosion ability which lets you toxic anything, and it's got that fire type as well, which is nice because it lets you hit things that would normally be switch-ins, which deters them from switching in. But that did get sniped. It was on my list. I did want to pick up my mascot, but it got sniped. Also, what got sniped was GOODEST, which was going to continue my grass fire water core. Unfortunately, that was going to be another defensive mon I wanted to pick up. I mean, it can be run offensive as well, but majority defensive mon. But that did get sniped from me, unfortunately. So that put my draft plan into a bit of disarray. Both those ones getting sniped. So any picks from here, like, I had to think about a lot to what would help my team the most with what was left. I mean, there was this next mon that I got was on my plan as well, but it kind of messed with my plan a little bit, keeping it here at this point. But I did want to try it, and so the next one I picked up was Mudsdale. Another defensive mon here. This was on my team, on my plan with the GOODEST too. So like, I was definitely picking up a lot of more defensive mons. And I did lie, Araquanid is not my slowest. Mudsdale is. I did forget about that. But I'm pretty sure at this point that Mudsdale is the slowest mon that comes on my team. Anyway, I've been talking a lot, and this video is going on for a while, but 100 HP is real nice. 125 attack is real nice. So even running it defensively, you can still run it. Even running it defensively, it can still hit really strong. Defense 100, real nice to go with that HP. Special attack, I mean, you're not running this as a special attacker anyway, so 55 is fine. 85 special defense. Chuck an assault vest on this, and it's real nice. Speed 35, who cares? It's defensive. You're not gonna be outspeeding anything. You're not gonna want to outspeed anything. Oh, excuse me, sorry. Own tempo stops it from being infatuated and stuff like that, I believe it is. Either that or it's confused. It stops it from being confused. One of those. But stamina is what you'll use on most of the time, I feel like. Because no matter what hits you take, your defense is going to go up. Which means it's really hard to break physically. Especially a bit easier, but as I said, you can chuck that assault vest on there. And like, just take hits and then just sit there. Eventually, like with the assault vest, you're not going to be able to run things like rest and sleep talk and stuff like that, but with a bit of support from your team, it can still be really nice to have. Inner focus stops you flinching. Not really going to use that much. Stamina is the main reason you'd bring this horsey. It does get things like raw for phasing if someone wants to try and set up, but like a lot of my team does at this point, so I mean, that's cool. I have plenty of options for stopping my opponent from setting up in my face. And then it's got the potential for the Stealth Rock setup as well, so even more hazards to add to my long list of hazards that I have. To go along with this pick, I think I started looking more offensively. What do I have left? I got T5 Mega and 2 Freeze. Yeah, I did want to go. I didn't want to grab the Alolan Sandslash originally, but it just made so much sense too because I have the Alolan Ninetales already, and Alolan Sandslash was a T5. I needed a T5. I mean, this makes my fire weakness so much worse. ×4 weakness to fire here, still ice. But then I do have the Araquanid and the Miltank at this point, so like picking this up isn't terrible. It's got decent HP, decent attack, decent defense, trash special attack, average special defense, and average speed. But it does have that Slush Rush, which doubles its speed in Hail, which Alolan Ninetales just brings along. So, and then it can set up like a Swords Dance behind the Aurora Veil that Alolan Ninetales brings. It gets things like Hone Claws as well if I wanted to use Icicle Crash, which if I really didn't want to miss Icicle Crash twice in a row to lose me a game like I did once in D&D, something like that. I mean, not really lose me the game, but set me back. I did end up losing the game, but it wasn't just the Icicle Crash's fault. Knockoff to knockoff items, Rapid Spin to get rid of hazards. So my hazard removal is Silvally, Sandslash, and Skarmory. And I think they're the only hazard removers I picked up over this draft, but 2 Defoggers and a Rapid Spinner is not bad. So it gets the potential for Stealth Rocks as well, so even more rocks is nice. But yeah, basically I picked this up to go with the Alolan Ninetales just because, like, they're a pair. There was no point not to picking it up at a T5. And then at this point, Alolan Sandslash is a Z user as well because we have to pick up a Tier 5 Z user, and the other Tier 5 that I pick up later in the draft is not as good a Z user as Alolan Sandslash would be. So, I mean, with the speed boost, you don't necessarily need to run an item. Like, I mean, you could run a Choice Scarf like you would run a Excadrill Choice Scarf sometimes or something like that, but it doesn't have the Mold Breaker to help with that. So, bringing this, I'll probably be bringing Alolan Ninetales as well. So, have the Slush Rush. I'll be able to chuck a Z move on there if I need to instead, and just chunk something for a lot, which will be pretty cool. But yeah, we needed to take a T5 Z mover and 2 normal Z users. I don't think I mentioned, but Coma-O is my other Z move user as well. So I've got Hooper, Coma-O, and Sandslash as my Z users for this draft, which I think is pretty cool. And while Silvally could have been a good Z user for that Z parting shot, I didn't think that putting on Silvally was worth it for just that one move. While Commonium Z is banned, Omni Boosting Z moves are banned, so Commonium Z is not usable. It does get a lot of coverage with a lot of different moves that using a Z move with would be good. Alright, so yeah, that's what I picked up here. Didn't really want anyone to snipe this, so that's why I picked it up around where I did before my last 2 free picks. But yeah, next I believe is my mega pick. It's getting late in the draft. There's still a bunch of good megas left. It was a tough decision for me because at this point I still need a grounded poison type to make up for not having Salazzle, so I can get rid of those toxic spikes easy. I still need a electric type. I wanted to get a ghost type. Because like I'll be relying a lot on webs, I believe. over this league, so getting something that can block spins is nice. In the end, I didn't end up taking a ghost type because like a lot of people are going to be running defog anyway, which ghost types do not block. And I mean, if I really feel like a ghost type is needed, I can always run Seal Valley Ghost. So I feel like not getting a ghost type is not a huge deal. I also needed a grass type. I was looking at a grass type. I was looking at a few different megas though. I was looking at Mega Beedrill. I was looking at Mega Banette. Mega Banette would have been a good pick because that would have given me 80 free points. As it was a tier 4 mega, which was on the same level as Mega Camerupt, and below things like Mega Ordino. Mega Ordino was a tier 3 mega, only giving you 60 extra points. And I feel like Mega Bayonet is a much better pick than Mega Ordino would ever be. But yeah, so I was looking at Mega Bayonet. I didn't grab it in the end because there was nothing in tier 2 which would have been where I was looking for a free pick if I picked up Mega Bayonet. Like I could have got Celebi, but then this team is just starting to resemble my UPBA Season 1 team a little bit too much. But yeah, Mega Beedrill would have given me a grounded poison type. But like it's overlapping with that bug type and giving me more of a fire weakness. Even though I do have those fire switch-ins, I didn't feel like it was overall what I wanted to go with, especially because I was still looking at grass types as well, which would have been even more fire weakness. And then, like, I didn't have an electric type yet, and Mega Manectric was still sitting there, so that is what I took. And that is Goodest Boy, which is not named after anyone in my server, but it's a good boy, so what can you do? 70 HP, 75 attack, 80 defense, 135 special attack, 80 special defense, 135 speed. So, average bulk, but really nice special attack, really nice speed. And speed is going to be good for my team because at this point, Alola Ninetales is the only thing that breaks 100. Miltank is 100 base speed, but you're not really going to be running that speedy most of the time anyway. But having something like that far over 100 is good. And I think Tapu Koko, Jolteon, things like that are only based on 130, so there's very few things that outspeed this. Like Mega Beedrill would be one, Mega Aerodactyl would be another. I mean, and I'm sure there's other options as well, but like Scarfers and stuff like that. But this is going to be outspeeding most of the mons. And then it's got that Intimidator as well, which is good against physically offensive mons, so that's pretty cool. And then you got the light screen, and you got a bit of priority and quick attack. Refresh can stop it, like get rid of toxics or something like that on it. Roar for more phasing. Thunderwave for some paralysis spreading. And then Volt Switch for some momentum. So I think I got a couple of U-turners and a Volt Switcher at the moment, which is always nice to have, just so you can like switch around and get momentum in your favor. To go along with this, I did pick up. How did my last two picks? I know. Okay, yeah. I needed a little bit more speed, a little bit more offense at this point, to be honest, because like I've got a lot of defense in the Miltank and the Mudsdale and the Araquanid, Seal Valley, stuff like that, are very bulky and not necessarily the most offensive things. So I wanted something that's a bit frailer, a bit faster, but still hits really hard. So I got Ambipom. Another U-turner, which is nice. 75 HP, so that's not even the worst HP in the first place. 100 attack, so while it's not the best attack, its ability Technician lets it hit things like Fake Out, And like any of the multi-hit moves that it gets, stuff like that, are gonna hit really hard. And especially if you chuck like a choice band on there or something like that, you're gonna be chunking things with some of your moves. 66 defense, 60 special attack, 66 special defense, 115 speed. So it's very fast as well, which is really nice. So like my opponents can't just look at my next slowest after mill tank and be like, nothing's going to be faster than that. So, which I think is like Como, like base 85 or something like that, or 95 for Sil Valley. So you can't just look at Sil Valley and be like, fastest thing he's going to have is 95. Luckily, I got the Minetric, which is 135, and this, which is 115, which is good. So that makes it so that your opponent is going to have to put points into speed if they want to be outspeeding your whole team or anything like that. Like if they want to make sure they outspeed. And then it gets things like agility, which is good. It can get even faster if it needs to. Baton pass, speed passing. I think the stat passing in general is banned in this league. So baton pass is only really useful for momentum purposes. Which I mean, I'll probably run U-turn over baton pass in most cases for that anyway. But fake out would be nice for a little bit of priority and flinching, stuff like that. Home claws, attack, gets some attack boosts. Knock off, get rid of items. Switcheroo can give someone else a choice scarf or something like that if you want to neuter a defensive mon on your opponent's team. Taunt, stop setup and stuff like that. So pretty cool bring here. It's named Ian. Ian also drafted this in his league, in the red league of the aABL, I believe it was. And he has used it before, and like the way that he's used it has made me want to use it too, so that's why I brought this on my team. Now, as I said before, I was still looking at grass types, I was still looking at poison types, grounded poison types. Had to grab a T5 mon. There weren't a lot that could cover both of them. Like there was Vile Plume, which was a grass type and a poison type, which was something I was looking at. I was looking at Blossom for a grass type. Those two mainly because they get that the strength sap move, which is really nice. But I did want toxic spikes as well, and neither of those get toxic spikes. So grounded poison types and T5 that get toxic spikes. I got the Meet IRL Garbodor. So yeah, get the toxic spikes, more spikes. So a lot more hazard setting up here. Not the strongest mon, but it's got decent HP, defense, special defense, so it can be quite bulky. And its attack is not terrible, even uninvested. 95 is not bad. 60 special attack isn't the best. 75 speed is alright. Like it's not the slowest, it's not the fastest on my team. So it's about in the middle. Stench has 10% chance to flinch on any moves that don't have a chance to flinch. I mean, could be useful. I don't know if I really use that. It's not really going to be outspeeding a lot in the first place. Weak armor, same as Skarmory. I mean, it's a neat idea, but I don't really think I'll be running that too much, if at all. Depends how much I feel like memeing or not. And then Aftermath, if I take a physical hit, I think it is, I deal percent amount of damage to whatever knocked me out. So that's pretty cool as well. So could revenge kill from being killed. It can autotomize, but once again, I don't really think I'll be running this as an offensive set too much. But, I mean, you never know. Clear Smog removes stat changes. Haze does the same thing. Pain Split for a little bit of recovery if you're being bulky and sitting in front of things and taking hits. And then Spikes and Toxic Spikes for some setup. So yeah, I got lots of hazard set up. I got a little bit of momentum with U-turners and volt switchings. I got a lot of defense. I have quite a bit of mixed offenses. Some setup, a lot of Ninetales with some setup support with the Aurora Veil. But yeah, I don't have that grass type, which I feel is pretty important to have when like coming up against like a Zygarde team or something like that. Um, but like Silvally has answers to that. But yeah, I did get that grounded poison type, so I can suck up toxic spikes, no problem. I do only have 2 defoggers and 1 rapid spinner, which like I tend to like to get more hazard removal than that if I can, but like in this case, like Skarmory, Silvally, or Alolan Sandslash, at least one of those, if not 2 of those, will be coming to most matches. So I'm going to be able to have a decent chunk of removal potential as well. So yeah, that's my team for the Adelaide Overheat for the aABL Blue League. Let me know what you think of my team. Whether you think it's bad, what could be improved. I mean, I still have 3 free agent ability, like trade abilities. So I at least I believe I do. So I can change things up if something's not working for me. So yeah. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you for the aABL in the future. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you all later.